Let me do the intro. And yeah, we'll go from there. I don't know where we're going to start. It's fine. Okay.
I'm going to mute while you do the intro because I always start laughing for no reason that makes any sense. So
I don't know why either. I don't think it's that funny, hopefully.
It has nothing to do with the intro being funny. It's I just have this like weird Pavlovian response where I start cackling. And
I think it's the high school response. It's like, everybody be quiet.
Well, yeah. The first couple, yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm muting.
Okay. This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. My name is Tracy James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are well off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Alix Cook joins me to talk two very different movies about family, with The Incredibles and Interview with the Vampire. Welcome!
Hey!
Thank you for being here today.
I'm so excited to be here today that I actually remembered before you emailed me that I was recording a podcast in the near future. That has literally never happened before.
I know. I thought you were replaced by a pod person. So just warning you, I'll ask you some secret questions about your history. And if you get any of them wrong, I'll know the truth.
I think when I expound at length about Interview with the Vampire, it will become very clear that I am who I say I am.
It's gonna be 20 minutes on glorious man locks. I get it.
It's not even on the top of my list, but it is on my
Oh god, there's so much. I must say, like, I must say, like, rewatching both of these movies, I like them both for very, very different reasons. So yeah. They're like, oh my god. I mean, Incredibles is Pixar. You gotta love a good Pixar movie, right?
Sure, but it's a particularly charming one.
It is. And then Interview with the Vampire is just so gloriously 90s that you're just like, yes. Gotta just let that roll all over you. Yeah.
I have a lot of feelings about it, which y'all will hear about in a little bit.
I don't even really have a segue into this one, but like, I guess we'll start on The Incredibles that came out in 2004. My first comment in all capital letters, like I'm screaming at myself, is I love the music in this movie. That's my first note. Love everything about it.
It's the complete package. Like the story, the characters, the animation, like it's all fantastic.
Yeah, it's like, it's so beautifully done that it's this like advanced, like 60s-esque civilization with this, 24th century technology magically. And the music is a combination of like Ocean's 11 and James Bond, and it's kind of like spy but superhero, and there's kids and family drama. It's all the good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's just like a perfectly like little polished gem of a movie, and I love it to death. And I had not seen it in a really long time, and it was really fun to rewatch it. It's like, because there are parts of it that I quote all the time, like friends of the show, Mike and Leah, and I like, yell at each other about capes on the regular. But then there was other stuff where I was just like, I forgot that was a thing. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a nice little refresh to have a reason to watch it.
Yeah, talking about the capes, actually I was like watching the cape scene sort of hit me slightly differently this time, because I remember the first time watching this and times after, I think the cape scene is just funny, right? You're like, no capes. And Edna is great, but she's adamant about these no capes, and she like says all of the incidences where something went wrong. But imagine like these like dead bodies happen because of your bad design. And I'm like, she like dreams about this at night. It has kept her awake for years. She's never making that mistake again. It's cruel and dark.
Yeah, she's not interested in being tactful at all. She just like whatever crosses her mind comes out her mouth, but she also like cares extremely deeply about her people, obviously.
Obviously,
Like,
yes.
also, I don't know if Disney Pixar has like a merch line of masks that are designed by Edna Mode, but if they don't, like first call me and then do that because it would be like a license to print money.
She's such a great character. I love her.
She's fantastic.
And I love the fact that like her voice is just Brad Bird, who is the director of the movie, and they were looking for someone to do it, and he just put in like he just did some audio, and they're just like, well, that works. And he's like, okay.
Nobody could top his scratch vocals, so he ended up doing the voice in the movie. Yeah, no, she's fantastic. She's probably my favorite part. The scene where she takes Helen in and she like in the camera and she just says Edna Mode and the guns come out and she sort of pauses like and guest.
Yeah.
I aspire to be that level of asshole.
My favorite part with her is actually when she's crying and Edna's just like, what is wrong with you? She starts smacking her with like the newspaper. You know, you're Elastigirl. You can't cry. You have to show him who you are. And she, you know, she was right. Like you say, like it's very clear. She says whatever she wants, but she clearly very much cares about these people and their life. And they're like, don't be a pussy about this. Get your shit together. We know who you are. You can do this.
This is an extremely solvable problem. So get on that. Like, yeah. No. She's like the queen of tough love. I love it. It's so great.
Yeah.
Also, it's like the super suits for like he literally asked for a patch job and then suddenly she's made like suits for. I presume she's never met the baby even. So like. What did she ask to see a picture and then was like, okay, well, you don't have anything interesting to tell me, so I'll just try to cover literally everything all at once in a onesie. Like, okay.
I mean, she does meet the baby in the second movie, and that whole sequence is fabulous, I must admit.
I know I watched the second movie, but like, I got nothing. I think I might have watched it on a plane. I just don't. I don't know. There was some sort of mind wipe that happened because I couldn't tell you a single thing that happens in it. So.
I actually
you won't be spoiling me if you talk about it, but also I won't really be able to contribute.
I have to say, this is one of the few, like, especially animated sequels, along with like Shrek and Despicable Me. The second Despicable Me movie is great. The third one, not so much. But like the second Incredibles movie is legitimately like a really nice, good follow-up that has like a good story, and it actually starts right at the end of this movie. So like they're in the parking lot and the I am the Underminer, like that whole it starts right from there.
I love that guy.
I love that guy. That guy's amazing.
Ridiculous glory. Yes.
And so there's a scene where the family goes somewhere and they leave the baby with Edna, but you know, Edna's like, I don't do babies. But then she does babies. And then, of course, the baby, like, mimics people and all that kind of stuff and kind of, like, makes her hair like it and makes the face like it. And it's just like a mini her beside somebody who's already mini. And it's just adorable.
Yeah. Well, they waited a really long time before they made the sequel, right? Like, it was, like, almost 15 years, I think.
Something like that.
If this was 2004 and the sequel's been out for a couple of years, like, yeah, it's cool if you could do that with an animated movie because you don't have to worry about de-aging people into strange, creepy, smooth versions of themselves or whatever.
Yeah. Actually, Incredibles 2 came out in 2018. Yeah, that was a good 14 years.
Yeah.
That's a very long time.
It's nice that he waited until he actually had something to say.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's what a lot of sequels need, because a lot of companies and stuff like that are like, you know, the movie made money, make another one right away so we can make money. And then the second one is shit because they haven't thought of a story. They haven't figured out what they're doing with their characters. They're just like, here's something, I think. You know,
it's the spaghetti approach, right? Just like throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And sequels typically don't. Or especially also because if you release a sequel right away and it makes money, even if it's terrible, it's more likely to end up as a series, right? So then you get stuff that happens like you and I watched The Mummy together not that long ago, and like it's awesome. Oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, the first two are amazing, but that
well, that's exactly. And then
No, exactly.
Nope,
Yeah.
nope, nope.
I hate when it hits that nope. You know, like you should have just stopped while you're ahead. Just
Yeah.
let it be, you know.
Yeah, the foreshadowing of badness was in the end of the second one. So why
Oh,
didn't you read the omens and just bugger off?
what? In between they made the Scorpion King movie and that made money, and that was horrendous as well, but
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Well, yeah, I haven't actually watched them. I've watched some like little clips because you just told me not to do that. And I believe you because you know you're an expert on these
Yeah.
things. And life's too short for shitty fourth movies and bad franchises.
Yeah. Some people take the bullet for other people, and this is what I'm here for when it comes to film. Okay.
Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Yeah. A lot of times it's just like, I'm like, no, you don't need to see the rest. Just leave it. Just walk away. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, even with like movies like that, where like you want to see more, you want to know what happened to these characters. All the time, I'm really like, if they just do a one and they're done, I'm happy because I'm like, now they can't ruin it. Just leave it. Just walk away.
I'd rather have lingering questions than shitty answers.
Yeah, it's true, because when they start answering stuff and you're just like, that's fucking stupid. Now you've ruined everything.
Yeah. I mean, also this is like why fandom exists. So you can get your questions answered in a variety of fashions that have nothing to do with a filmmaker who's gone rogue.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's what they should do from now on. Just make a movie, let the fandom go wild, pick one fan story and make that instead. It's usually better than whatever an executive or whoever is going to come up with. So it's fine.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's true. There are fewer committees of people with money involved in fandom. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I think that's actually the hardest part of it. It's just that, you know, like there's lots of movies and stuff where people are just like, it's not going to make money, but here we'll give you some pocket change so you can fill out your dreams, say you made a movie. Then it makes a ton of money, and then they're just like, well, look at all the money we have. Now we get a word. And you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake. just let it be art. Just let it happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes. Develop new talent. Don't torture the current talent to try and recreate something that can't be recreated.
But I think this is the way the entertainment industry works in the first place. It's like, it's so hard to find somebody to take a chance on something. But when they do take a chance, then they ruin it because they're like, whoa, it's this thing. So everything has to be like it, or we have to like jump on the bandwagon. And then it just goes downhill from that point.
It's true. People like weird stories. Like they like being presented with something they would never have thought of in a million years.
Yeah.
I mean, we could all, if we sat down at a keyboard, probably write a Fast and Furious movie. It might not be good, but we could like pick up enough of the cues from the others to like put something on paper that could technically join that franchise. Say this as somebody who shamefully has actually never seen any of those movies, even though I really like terrible family storylines and also things that go fast. So probably if I ever do, I'll fall down a giant rabbit hole. It'll be terrible. But
what there's like, I think there's 10 movies altogether now, 11.
I think something like that. Now I don't even know, but like, but my point is like, you know, there's like. There's a certain number of beats that you have to hit in a franchise or in like certain genre movies. But if you manage to just like step outside of those specific like trope salads and just like come up with something bizarre, people tend to be into it because they're just like, what is this? I like this. Or I hate this, but I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it happens pretty regularly where you all of a sudden just see, you know, the same kind of movie come out, you know, for 5 years in a row. Because somebody made one movie like this, and then now everybody has to do it that way.
Sure, and all cultural trends follow that a little bit. Every female singer for 5 years has sounded like Ellie Goulding. Why? She's terrible. But anyway, like,
yeah.
Sorry, that's a public opinion. That shouldn't be a public. I'm sure she's lovely, but also, yeah.
Yeah, no, people can be nice people and you still don't like what they do.
She's very talented at what she does. I hate it, and I don't need everyone to try to do it and then do it less well. That's like, it's like Guns N' Roses karaoke, man. Like Axl Rose doesn't always do Axl Rose earlier or very well. So like, why are you doing it? Don't do that.
Yeah.
No, do you?
just do whatever it is you do. People will
How
like
did we
it.
get into
Fine.
a defense of indie filmmaking on the back of The Incredibles is what I want to know.
We
That was
started
a
to talk about
strange little-
sequels. It's fine.
That was a strange slide sideways.
Yes. But a thing I really like about this movie too is how like the setup for the story is so complex and so tight and so well done that within the like first 15 minutes you're just like you're fucking in there. You're just like, yes, this is so, because you know, with like the old footage and you meet the main superheroes you're going to be talking to, and then you know the whole cheekiness with his car and the banter between Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, you know, it's like yeah, I'm a little busy tonight, don't be late.
Prior engagement.
Yeah. That whole thing. And then you know, then there's Bon Voyage, the best villain name ever.
Worse than it made me snort. Yeah.
Yes. And then Buddy shows up and you're just like, look, all the pieces for your story in 10 minutes. Done.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, I know, because like when I was sitting down to watch it, I looked at the length just sort of out of curiosity, and it's almost 2 hours long, which is like pretty intense for a kids movie. And then so the setup of the movie is interesting because, as you say, it yanks you into the world really, really fast, but also like the first half hour solidly is all set up, and it's all the family and it's all the normal life, and like they don't get to sort of like the meat and potatoes of the actiony bits really until quite a distance into the movie, like usual, right? Like, and yeah, they do have something, they have bursts of action like in the sort of retrospective bit, but they don't, like all the running through the jungle stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't start until quite late in the film, comparatively.
Yeah, but like, despite the fact that it's all quote unquote normal stuff, when you get to know the family and you meet them, it's such a great and believable dynamic between all of them that you're not bored, you know.
One of the things that I had forgotten about this movie is how aggressively they need marriage counseling.
Yes.
So I was sort of watching it just like, yo, what are you guys doing? Like, to each other, to your kids, what is happening? And then yeah, obviously they like pull it together, but but whoa.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the whole point of it, because like even what's the daughter's name? Like when they're on the island, Violet, yes.
I love the kids' names so much.
Oh, Dashiell. Dashiell's right.
Like, yeah, like the fast one is Dash, and the invisible one is like a shrinking Violet, and the one who just can't settle on a power and has decided to go for a smorgasbord is like a jack of all trades. Like, I just, it's so simple and not even that clever.
And great.
I love it.
I do love the part where when you first meet Violet and like the cute boy looks at her and she disappears and she's like, he looked at me, even though she wasn't there technically, but
he was literally looking at the shrubbery because she had just vanished. Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. Yeah.
Violet is awesome, and I wish that I could pretend that I was as cool as her, but I think that actually in my heart I'm more of an ass. The drama really speaks to me, where he just like lies down and is just like, everything is terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling I'm more like a Jack, to be honest. Everybody's like, oh, she's totally normal, and then she freaks out and does weird shit. Yeah, I think that's about right.
I'm not sure you achieve that level of chaos, but
no, not the same level. Like I don't turn into flames and stuff. No.
Sure. Although I guess he's not that chaotic unless something's going down. So that's fair.
Yes.
On him. He's a baby. He doesn't know about emotional regulation yet.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good at being normal for the most part. Ish. Or wait, pretending I'm normal until it's too late and you're my friend, and then you're just like, oh my god, what have I got myself into? I think I'm there.
Don't play poker with Tracy, folks.
Gonna win. But yes, no, like I just love their family dynamic is all I was saying. Like, I just think it's believable. And yes, they do need marriage counseling, but apparently their marriage counseling is beating the bad guy. So, and protecting their kids. Yes.
I mean, there are worse things to, yeah. It's interesting. It was kind of, I was thinking about the dynamic between the two of them, especially because the sequel was made so recently. Like, I sort of wonder if the movie had been made, if the first movie had been made when the second movie was made, would they have had that same dynamic between Helen and Bob? Because it's such a like the movie has that like weird 60s spin, but it's a very like traditional patriarchal setup where like he just like wants to live and do his fun shit and she like is holding him back and blah blah. Like it's like a kind of a weird, like not the best dynamic really, because like she has to be like the bad guy all the time, so she's not happy and he can't do what he wants. And like I'm wondering if they had, yeah, if it had been a more modern movie, if they would have stayed away from that because it was too traditional, or if they still would have gone that direction to sort of.
To be honest, I think if they made that movie now, they would have flipped the roles. Like Mirage would have been looking for Elastigirl, and Elastigirl would have had no, I think quote unquote Syndrome would have been looking for Elastigirl, and what's her face? And Mirage would have been like the one in charge. They would just like flipped it around for a second.
Yeah.
Just to be like, no, the dad's gonna stay home. But the thing is, I think they would have still made her like not the Punisher, but more like the serious one. Honestly, that's kind of what they did in the second movie. What am I talking about? Because in the second movie, they left him at home with the kids, and she was taken and she went somewhere else and was like, oh, we are going to bring superheroes back. Therefore, you're going to be like our poster girl for it. And she was the one who got to do like all of this stuff. Whereas like, so like the dad was still like, I don't know how to do anything. And she was just so like, yeah.
Even though she's doing all that, she's still like handling all the emotional labor of running the family, because men can't possibly be competent in their own households. That would be weird.
That's just crazy. But I think part of that has to do with the first movie already existing, because they've already
of course.
set up that dynamic.
It doesn't benefit anybody to just like flip something for the sake of it and then ruin the characters you've built. Like that's foolish. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think the first movie would have had that flip if it was done now compared to 2004. I think so too.
I don't think it would have. I think it would have been just as good, to be honest. Yeah. Either one being taken and one thinking one's cheating, and then you find out what you're just being a superhero again. That's against the law. I've got to save the day. I think it just would have been great.
Yeah, no, it's they're beautifully drawn characters, so you can put them in different situations and they'll still go, right?
Yes.
Like that's sort of how that works, ideally.
And yeah, that's true. The character designs are really nice. I must admit, I did prefer his blue suit over the red suit, to be honest. I really like that blue suit.
Pajamas?
The hobo pajamas. I loved the hobo pajamas.
Strenuously disapproves. I laughed so much at this hobo suit thing, because I'd forgotten about that. And then when she referred to them as hobo pajamas, not only was I cackling, but I was like, I'd just gotten home from like 2 months at the cottage and I hadn't done laundry, and I was like, oh, I'm also wearing hobo pajamas. Like, I feel you, buddy.
Yeah.
So there was some outsized cackling at that whole exchange.
You're like, I'm there. I know about this. This is what's happening.
I feel you, dude.
But I do like the designs. I like the suit designs, like for like all the characters and stuff. Like even with like Gazer Beam and stuff. Like when he's gone on the computer and you see like what they look like. He's going through all the different. I was like, they're like really cool looks.
They're very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They really don't miss a trick. I mean, Pixar, but yeah.
I don't know how they were able to just like do this automatically, because like I'm gonna say this. I hate Toy Story. I'm just putting it out there. I hate everything about the characters. They are horrible. So I never got into it. So when Pixar came out with movies after that, I was just like, fine, whatever, I'll watch it. I was surprised, like they were just like so good. So yeah, like it just like it kind of like blows my, like it just seems that somebody came in here and was like, let's think of these stories in a different way. Not just like, how do I put this? Like, so in Toy Story, you have the toys, a new toys introduced, everybody's jealous. but then they like him and then they get rid of the other one. Fine. Right.
Mhm.
And this is one of the reasons why I hate those toys, because I'm like, so you spent your whole life with this other toy, who knows, whatever. And I'm not saying to alienate the new toy. All I'm saying is, why would you throw your old toy out the window because you think he's done something wrong and you won't let him explain? It just made no sense to me.
Caring is not a finite resource. Also, I can't dispute anything you say about Toy Story because I'm putting out there that I've actually never seen any of those movies.
I think you're fine. It's okay.
Well, I know you think that.
I love the fact, like, all this story. What is it? Toy Story 4? There's something about them being in a furnace and they're holding hands and they're like, grown men were crying. And I was just like, let them burn. That's
You're such a sensitive soul, Tracy.
I know.
I love that about you. Right. I mean, I cry at long distance commercials, so I'm sure that those movies would ruin me, but also I also get kind of cranky when I know that my heartstrings are being tugged like in a super manipulative fashion. So you never know.
Yeah, so you must love Up then. My God.
I actually have not seen that one on purpose. The Toy Story thing was kind of an accident, but I I remember when that came out. It was when I was living at my old house, and the twins that I lived with came back, and he was like from the movie, and he was just like, oh God, I just like sobbed for 5 minutes. It was awful. And he's like not a crier. And I was like, oh, if it got you that way, like, no,
okay. I will admit, I saw that movie in the theater and I was angry because it made me feel things. And I was like, go fuck yourselves, dude. Just like, why are you doing this to people? This is supposed to be a kid's movie. It's supposed to make me feel good. Even the ending of the movie, people were just like, oh, it's such a happy ending. I'm like, no, it's not. That's so depressing.
I mean, like, kids movies will betray you, and as the generation that grew up with like Bambi and shit, like, we should know this, and yet we just like blindly skip into these traps holding a thing of popcorn. Like, no, I'm not here for it. There are enough fucking allergic reactions to feelings in my house. I don't need to be also watching horrible things that are animated.
I have two words for you. Bing bong. Hello? From Inside Out? No?
I also haven't watched Inside Out. I got Disney Plus, and then I immediately fell down like an awful procedural rabbit hole instead of watching like all the beautiful animated content that allegedly I should be signing up to watch.
Yeah.
It's on my list. But also, I hate feeling things. Why do I want to watch a whole movie that's about anthropomorphized feelings?
Exactly. Well, yes. So like that whole story, like, yes, it's a movie about feelings, right? But the reason why the movie is about feelings in the real world is also hard to take, but also the things that the feelings go through are hard to take. And you're just like, in the real world and in the imaginary world, everything is difficult. What are you doing? But it's beautiful. It is well represented. Like, just like how they decide to illustrate different aspects of not just like emotions, but also like just mental capabilities and like memories and things like train of thoughts and like how memories are stored, how they're collected, different types of your personality in your brain. It's a whole thing. Yeah.
I love that is a movie that exists, and I love that there are kids who are growing up like having these conversations, like having conversations and learning about stuff that they wouldn't necessarily be able to verbalize yet. Like, I think it's amazing. I think that's such a cool thing. Do I need that living rent free in my head? Well, TBD.
If you're gonna cry at commercials, you're definitely gonna like use a whole tissue box per movie. Like,
it's ridiculous. And like, people who know me are always surprised, but like, because I'm just like a sarcastic bitch most of the time, and I don't, I always joke about how I have no feelings and I'm a psychopath and whatever. And then like the like slightest thing, like cute animal video, like, it doesn't matter. Reading the news, like, forget it. Like,
oh no, I get crying at reading the news.
Sympathetic tear ducts. So like, if I'm watching a show I like and a character like wells up, I'm like, well, fuck, here I go. Like, it's just,
as I'm like eating my popcorn, I'm like, bitch, be crying. What?
Yeah. Yes, a friend of the podcast, Sean Archer's Delights, is making fun of me for crying. We often go see all the Oscar movies together, and like the lights will come up, and everyone else will be like, "That's great," and I'm sitting there just like, 1 minute, please.
But it's an Oscar. Aren't most movies nominated for an Oscar are meant to destroy your soul? So I'm not surprised at that.
Well, sure, but like I like to think of myself as like a fairly like savvy person, and I am aware of when I'm being manipulated, but like god damn it still works. It's annoying.
It still works. Yeah.
No, it's like hilariously easy to make me cry. Not in real life. That's almost impossible, but with like various media, it's just like, oh god, here I go again. It's embarrassing.
Love it.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't
But
go
yes.
see Disney movies in the theater for sure because I don't want to be sniffling with a bunch of 6-year-olds. That seems even less dignified than my usual brand.
I love seeing those movies in the theater because it's always the parent that ends up crying, not the kid. And the kid's like, "Oh, look, it's blue," and you're like, "Don't you understand?" But oh my
This is
god,
so beautiful. Yeah, no, I would if I was willing to consort with children, I would 100% be that parent. It's like,
Look,
here, have some candy and shut up for 5 minutes while I gather myself.
I fully saw Curious George in the theater, and there was definitely a part where I was just like, "Get back in." Nope. Not gonna happen. Nope. Mm-mm.
Oh no.
Yeah. I find a lot of animated. I think it's just because everything is so cute in it. You don't want anything to happen to it. And then, when something happens to it, you're just like, I want to protect you. I love you.
Right. But also, yeah, because there is like allegedly kids movies, you're not, again, even though we should know, we don't know, and we just blindly walk back into that trap like, oh, if it's acceptable for kids, it must be fine for me. But like a lot of those movies are great because there's sort of like a kid track and adult track, right? So like the stuff, like you watch a movie that you loved as a kid as an adult and you're just like, whoo, I did not get a lot of the implications of some of those things. Like yeah. I wasn't like a kid when The Lion King came out, but I was like young-ish, and I remember watching it and loving it, and then like as I got older, it was just like, good lord, like if that was a live action movie, you would never let a kid anywhere near it. Like the storyline is horrifying. My god, people are like,
isn't it Hamlet? It's Hamlet, isn't it?
Yeah, well, with less whining, but yes.
Yes.
Shakespeare takes coming at you, folks. But yeah, so we think because it's like cute and aesthetically pleasing that everything's going to be fine, but often things are demonstrably not fine.
I mean, to be honest, most Disney films start with the parents dying.
Yeah.
So
actually, yeah, that's one interesting thing about The Incredibles. It's the 2-parent household is maintained.
Yeah, which is surprisingly rare for a kids movie. It just blows my mind.
True. I mean, which is annoying because that's like, it's such a hacky shorthand, whatever, writing device to just be like, it's just the same as like every action movie where his girlfriend got raped or murdered or raped until she was murdered, whatever, like, or
kidnapped or whatever.
Yeah, but like it's just like, oh, we don't really have to worry about motivation, we'll just murder somebody before the opening credits.
Well, I'm sorry, when you hit John Wick, they killed the cute dog, so that guy had to die. Just like, I fully understood his rage and his wanting to murder things.
Didn't he kill like 300 people or something? I haven't seen those movies either.
Why am I talking to you?
Despite my presence on a movie podcast, I don't watch that many movies anymore, so I kind of like, I worked in a video store for like 5 years from like, I don't know, 17 to 22 or whatever. So I watched like all kinds of trash that was amazing. But then after that, when people were like, hey, do you want to watch a movie? I'd be like, I guess. Like, whatever.
Whereas I'm still like, yes, watch all the movies. I've been watching movies continuously.
Movies. I don't really sit down to them unless there's a reason, typically. So yeah. And I'm even worse with TV. Working in TV is hilarious because everyone at work is like, have you seen? Like, you'd know the answer to that if I had, right?
Yeah, I still love TV, as you know, and yes, I still watch TV. Surprisingly, I have watched very little new content during the pandemic, but
that's surprising. That's very sensible.
I guess maybe it's less stressful.
Everything is turbulent, and it's it's anxiety inducing to like even go outside to like get the mail or whatever, right? There might be plague breathed down upon you. So Having a
Yes.
certain like comforting familiarity in the media you're taking in is like completely sensible. Like, I don't want any surprises. I don't want to accidentally feel something or like have something bad happen that I wasn't expecting. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
there's even like a couple of new things I tried watching and I was just like, that's just irresponsible. I can't watch this. And I was like, well, because what was it? It's The Stand. Was it called The Stand? It was one of the Stephen King ones. And it starts with like a pandemic plague that's very similar to this. And I was like, that's just irresponsible. I can't watch this.
Even Alexander Skarsgård cannot compel me to watch a pandemic miniseries right now. That whole concept can just fuck right off.
Well, I mean, somebody was trying to talk me into watching it again, and they're like, no, that's really just the first episode or two. And I'm just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because everybody dies.
Yeah. Like, and it's just like, it's the people who survived. You think the fact that everybody died with like a pandemic isn't going to like come back? And it's one of those things where it's like it was so intense that it was like, as soon as you saw somebody cough, you're like, that person's gonna die. The next scene, you saw them, there was like shit falling out of their face and they're like crawling on the floor at walls and stuff. And you're just like, dude, what are we going through right now?
None of that, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't watch The Walking Dead either. I don't really do post-apocalyptic scenarios. I just
it's the last season of The Walking Dead, and I feel like I should go back and just watch the end, because I definitely put like 5 years into it. Then I gave up, and now I feel like I should just watch the end of it.
I lasted 1 season with that show, and I thought all of the characters were knobs, and I was fine with them getting eaten, and so I respectfully declined to watch anymore. Like, oh, this like wiener cop guy is the main character. No,
I don't know. I think the reason why I stuck with it so long was that I read the comic books, and I was like, I gotta see if they do some of this stuff, because some of the shit in that comic book is twisted. And if you think what they did in the show was twisted, you have no idea. Oh my God. And I didn't even read the whole comic series. I only read the first 6 or 7 trades. So that's what, like 35 issues or something, which only gets you to, if you've watched the show, it gets you to the prison. But
better.
Yeah. You know,
people eat each other's faces in prison. I'll just watch Oz.
Yeah. Good show, by the way.
That show I did go all the way through. Like, what am I doing with my life? This thing is bananas.
It is. And also, when it was originally on, I was way too young to be watching that. But every once in a while, I'd be like, turn on TV. Ugh, yeah, it's on. Done.
I binged it later on. But I was kind of like, at a certain point, I was like, I have to keep binging this because so much happens in every episode that if I wait 3 days, I'll have forgotten 5 plot points and they won't bring them up for 3 episodes. And then I'll be like confounded and horrified again. Like, oh,
yeah,
no, just like, no.
Yeah. I love deep shows like that, but it's true. Like, when you have too much that you have to like do research after, be like, wait, I know this thing means something. What was it again? You gotta like rewatch 6 episodes to be like, oh, that goes back to and then this episode, oh, that's what they're talking. Oh my God, that's so cool. You know,
right? Yeah. And that show in particular, the body count was really high. So it's like there'd be all this stuff happening, and then you get like 3 episodes later, it's like, oh God, they knifed that guy in the throat. I completely forgot. God damn it! Like, yeah, no,
yeah,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. I started rewatching True Blood because apparently I'm simple or something.
I love that show so much. It's like one of my favorite shows, except I still haven't seen the last season. I started rewatching at the beginning of the pandemic. I've seen part of the last season, but then I just somehow I fucked it up. I don't know. I have commitment issues, and sometimes when I know a show I love is ending, I just like don't watch the last season for a stupid long time because then it's like not over in my little squirrel brain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I started rewatching at the beginning of the pandemic, and I never actually got up to the point where it had been, so I haven't continued. So maybe I should go back to that.
Yeah. I'm just gonna bring up Supernatural.
Don't talk to me about that. I still have 3 episodes left.
Oh my God.
And I have had for like a year.
What?
Well, speaking of having an allergic reaction to feelings, I'm going to be like just roadkill after that.
You are gonna be a mess after that last episode. Okay. I wasn't even that
Yeah.
invested in the show. And even that last episode had me like, no feelings.
Because, like,
No.
every time Dean wells, I well. Like, I am just gonna cry myself inside out when the thing is over. So I'm just like living in this universe where I still have 3 episodes left, and I think it's 3. And one of them has like one of my very favorite actors / musicians of all time in it. I still haven't watched it because it'll be like inching closer to the end, and I can't live that life yet.
Oh, I believe it. I get it.
I literally pulled it up on Amazon last night because I didn't know what to watch, and I like sat there looking at the episode things for a minute, and then I was like, no, I can't do this. Back down and watched a trash bag procedural instead because I think those wrap up their emotional crap in 40 minutes or less.
Yeah. No, this emotional crap will last for you with a lifetime. It's fine.
I've been watching it since the beginning. I like can't say goodbye to my TV husband yet. Not ready.
But did you hear they're doing like another show? It's like younger them. It's like
I can't even. I'm not sure you want me to rant about this because I already have like 100 rants about interviews stored up. So I'm not sure you want to go there. I mean, I'll go there, but like,
well, can you sum it up in like 5 minutes?
I can do better than that. I can just like say a thing and then move on. Yes.
Okay.
Jensen and Danielle Ackles are producing a show that is like a prequel show. So instead of focusing on the boys, it'll focus on John and Mary Winchester, their parents. This makes zero fucking sense. There is no content there that could possibly make sense with the show's canon, unless they're literally just like being a housewife and a mechanic and raising 2 children. So I can't imagine this is going to be any better than the other Supernatural spinoff shows.
Wait, there had others?
Well, no, they did 2 backdoor pilots for shows that they were planning to release, and then they sucked so hard that I've never even heard of them.
Okay, done.
The second one had promise, but they just didn't quit. The first one was like, oh god.
Well, do you remember what they were called?
The second one was the Winchester Daughters, Winchester Sisters, something.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like all the ladies of Supernatural that are still standing, like Jody and like her like daughters, like the girl she's adopted, and Donna, the other sheriff, and like we love them, but I don't know what happened to that show. Anyway, but whatever. So this prequel thing is insane because the whole deal is that John Winchester didn't know anything about the Supernatural until after Mary was dead. And Mary did know about the Supernatural, and she came from a family of hunters, but she turned her back on that when she made the demon deal that led to the whole Sam drinks demon blood and kills people with his brain thing. So
yes, just that thing. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the whole yellow-eyed demon craziness. Like she made a demon deal. Her parents were dead. The demon had killed the parents stayed dead, and John Winchester was brought back to life so they could have a normal life. Except obviously that didn't pan out. But like at no time did they both know about the Supernatural. So like, what is the point of this prequel show?
I don't have an answer for you. So
I don't. Yeah. Whatever they do, it's gonna be just like retcon for days, and I'll accept a certain amount of that in service of like a fun storyline, but not. I don't. As much as I love Jensen Ackles and as much as I love the Supernatural universe, I have zero faith that this can be anything but a complete clusterfuck.
Okay.
I mean, I'm 100% going to be the first person to sign up to watch it. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, you're going to be there in front of your TV. Yeah. You're like, I watched it. I could tell you it's garbage. Done. Walk away. Yeah. Or you could be like me. You could just hate watch things that you used to love. So it's fun. I
try not to do that, but
yeah, no, that's the only reason.
I don't watch enough shit to be hate watching.
Yeah, that's why I keep watching Discovery. It's so bad. But Lower Decks is great, so I don't mind watching that one. I'm good.
Excellent. I've heard good things.
Also, currently hate watching Jeopardy because what's his stupid face is there.
Isn't it satisfying to watch him badly edit his opening monologue about how he's the new host of Jeopardy?
Yes. I know, like, on Friday, you're done. Boom.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Nope. You got fired.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
That whole scenario was bonkers.
Yeah.
Speaking of the entertainment industry doesn't work very well, and decisions by committee. Yikes, y'all. You are Sony. You
the
do better than that guy.
Yeah. So the funny thing at first, because I didn't know anything about him. It was the first time I saw him when.
I didn't do anything about him. He was just like the weird guy Smiley behind the scenes.
Yeah. But the thing is, he did like a good job when he was, hosting for like temporary hosting. And when people were bitching about it that he got the job, I was just like, yeah, sure, it's another white guy, but he did a good job. What's the big deal? And everyone's like, LeVar Burton this, LeVar Burton that. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love LeVar Burton. I love LeVar Burton, but he wasn't very good, right?
Well,
so it's
so they didn't give him a very good shot because they put him on they only gave him half the time. He was being preempted, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
No,
I don't actually think he should be the host because
I don't think so either.
We already know and love him, and we have all this content from him. It needs to be somebody else who could make that their own thing. Right?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you.
Give us somebody new because we already have LeVar and we already love him.
Mm-hmm. And so at first I was fine, but then all this stuff came out about this guy, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, let's get rid of him. He's ruining the legacy.
A guy that's on the committee to like hire a new host who then hires himself is like not a guy you want to hire. That's not like.
I don't know. I didn't know who picked him to be there. I was just like, it's just gonna be that guy.
They said like, oh, he wasn't part of the final decision, whatever, and it's like, yeah, but like he went up for the job. If he doesn't get it and he's still the executive producer, he's just gonna make life hell for everybody because he's already proved that he can't be trusted. Like.
Mm-hmm. But apparently, according to stuff that came out, he was already making things hell for people. So
he had a history of having to settle lawsuits for a toxic work environment. Like this is not the guy you want to take over for Alex Trebek. I mean,
definitely not. Well, I'm super happy that he quit after the first week because he's like, it's too much stress, and then now you're not on TV. The network like, get out. So
and then they fired him from behind the scenes too. Well, they hired a minder who would like check on, like he would just like follow him and make sure that his behavior was appropriate, and after like 3 days she was like, oh no, this guy's gotta go.
I'm sorry, the fact that they had to hire somebody to walk around behind you to see if you behave correctly is already a sign maybe this guy shouldn't be here. So
no, not for 1 minute.
Not at all.
Get him out of there.
God. God. Yeah. So
it's been a real ride.
So apparently, what is it? Maya Bialik is going to be there next week, but she's
they're supposed in until they find somebody. But like Ken Jennings has also tweeted a bunch of like weird, shitty, like ableist nonsense and stuff. Like I don't think he's going to get the job either.
I don't think he is.
It should have been his job to lose, but he fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't apologize.
There's also what is it, Buzzy Phillips or whatever, the other guy who likes the suits with the glasses.
Wait, who? I don't know who that.
Well, he was one of the champions as well.
Sure.
He's like, what is his title? He used to be the winningest person. Now he's not the winningest person anymore. Anyways, but he's been on since like forever. He hosted the Tournament of Champions last year and stuff like that. Anyways, I think he would be a pretty decent host as well. I wouldn't be surprised. And because he's not like, he's like a Jeopardy contestant celebrity. He's not like a celebrity. So I think that would do.
Also, if he's smart enough to be on a record-holding Jeopardy champion, presumably he's scrubbed his entire Twitter history by now.
Yeah, you would have thought that, especially with like Ken Jennings being there and everything. But
that's it's like two of them have not ended up with the gig that should have been theirs. It allegedly should have been theirs because they just didn't hide the evidence of shit they'd said in the past. I mean, just the latest guy I think is a genuine dipshit. I have no idea about Ken Jennings if he's learned his lesson or not, but like.
I guess we'll wait and see.
We'll check, man. If you just leave the receipts all out there on twitter.com, people are going to come for them.
Yeah. So true. But I'm gonna keep watch all the drama, see what's going on.
I don't have cable, but I watch the drama in the media.
I paid too much.
What's happening today? Good Lord.
I paid too much for cable, so I'm gonna watch it. Done. Yes.
Love that for you.
Love it. Every minute of it. I think we're off topic.
We both love The Incredibles so much, and we just like keep ending up in the weeds of totally different.
But this is one of my problems with like, especially movies that I really, really like, is that I watch it and like I take like 5 notes at the beginning of the movie, and then I sit there with my jaw open or smiling the whole time as I watch it, and then the movie finishes and I was like, oh shit, I didn't take any notes. Okay.
Yeah. I decided not to take notes specifically for interview because I was just like, no, I just want to, I just like turned all the lights out and I like was right. I was just like, I'm so in this. Like, usually when I watch stuff, I'm doing something else, but I was like, no, brain, we will focus.
Oh yeah, no, I've sat down for both of these movies and focused very well. I was fine for both of them. Hold on. Before we switch, let me go through the few notes that I have for The Incredibles. So I already said I like the music. Oh, one thing I picked up, which I'd never picked up before, but when we first meet Buddy and he's trying to remember what his name is, he first calls him Brody, which is a character Jason Lee played in Mallrats.
Oh yeah, Mallrats, Brody. Yeah, of course.
I was just like, haha, funny. Wrote that down.
He's like such a whole situation in this movie.
Yes, he is. I love everything about Syndrome. I must admit, like the crazy hair, the giant ass across the chest, you know, the interesting shape.
It's so funny to me because like watching it, because you know, like The Incredibles win because they're such a like tight-knit family and they like really have each other's backs and whatever, and then even just you see Syndrome and you see his hair and you're like, oh yeah, this guy does not have a single person who's trustworthy in his whole life. Like, you're just fucking walking around like that and nobody's been like, bro, you can accomplish your aims without
he's super rich and owns his own island. I don't think anybody gets to tell him anything.
No, he's like fully Jeff Bezos going to space on a dick because nobody's like, dude, maybe you could not do that.
He's better than Jeff Bezos. He has hair. Just gonna say it. At least Elon Musk,
who's distributing his fortune, though.
I mean, least Elon Musk was like, I'm gonna get hair plugs and grow them out so people won't remember I used to be bald when I was poor.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jeff Bezos just let it all go.
Like nobody, but it's the same thing. It was just like nobody was like, how did everyone look at that design and they were like, it looks like you're jumping into the giant dildo. Don't do that.
Honestly, I think the rocket designers are just fans of Austin Powers. That's it. They're like, I love that joke. Let's do this.
Or they're not fans of whatever. It doesn't matter. They knew what they were doing 100%.
They have to. Yes.
Yeah. No. That was not an accident. There are other designs for rockets. We know this because we just saw Elon Musk do it. But like, yeah. Anyway, the point is, Syndrome very clearly shows that he is forever alone because even Mirage isn't just like, bro.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I kind of like about Syndrome, even though this is like a big movie and he's like obviously a megalomaniac, this movie's not about taking over the world.
No,
this movie's not.
Very small man with.
He's a very small man, and he's just like, you know, a superhero made me feel bad when I was a kid. Therefore, I'm gonna make sure nobody feels super anymore. Like that is it. Well,
giving people access to life-changing technology is a completely valid aim. It's just a shame that he managed to get so twisted up about it, right? Like,
yeah.
That's there's nothing, like the goal is fine. It's just the execution is literally executions. Don't do that.
Don't do that at all. But I also love the fact that he makes a learning robot that is like a genius robot that can figure things out quickly, but doesn't think he can be defeated by his own robot, like that he quote unquote controls. And you're just like, like, how are you surprised at this? How are you surprised?
You taught it to be better than you. That's the whole deal.
That's the whole point. Yeah. So you got actual super people to train this thing to be literally incredible. And then you're surprised when you're just like, in 3 seconds, it defeated me because I'm not actually He didn't learn how to do any kind of tactics. He didn't learn how to
No,
fight. He
his
didn't.
knowledge is all theoretical and scientific. Like that's one of the fun things I find, like when Mr. Incredible first gets to the island, that like, because he's just been kind of like doping around, right? And like he seems incredibly incompetent because he's like listening to the police scanner and all that jazz. It's like, oh yeah, he's like big and strong, but he's like not that good at this. And then as soon as he's actually tested, it's like, oh no, he's an excellent tactician. He's not just a strong guy. Like,
yeah,
but he's kind of like, he doesn't even have to dust it off. He just like jumps straight back into that mode and does like some crazy nonsense. And
yeah, he's smart. He knew how to track. He knew he had tactics on how to attack this robot.
He has the brain for that. And yeah, Syndrome's never actually been in a fair fight, so he doesn't have any sort of. He's never had to learn the things that he would need to actually be good at what he was doing.
Exactly.
Which is good because we want our supervillains incompetent, frankly. But
that's really the best way to defeat them. It's great. Yeah,
that scene, the scene where the whatever thing is back in the city and they're trying to defeat it with the like Syndrome's wrist cuff that gets knocked off. I was just like face down in my pillow howling with laughter at the like slapstick garbage of it, where he's like trying to get the claw and like she keeps pressing the wrong button and he's just like, what? Ooh, no, that one, the other one. And I was just like, this is like, I'm now a 5-year-old just like cackling at the chaos. I love this stupid movie.
Yeah. Well, and I think that aspect of it kind of puts you in a place where no, they haven't been doing this for a while. They need to brush up a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of time, but they're still smart. They've figured out something.
Because like they don't know how their kids work with their superpowers because they haven't let them explore them. So it's just like, I really love the scene after the plane where like the mom is yelling at Violet to put up the force field and she completely chokes, and then Ellen is just like, I'm sorry, that was my bad. I should never have asked you to do that. That was unfair and that was like a shitty parenting move and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Look at you modeling good parent behavior.
Yeah, but you have to remember, like 2 seconds after that, she was like, when she's leaving the cave where the kids are, and she's like, so you're gonna have to use your powers, and she's like, but you told us never to use our powers. She's like, I know what I said, and she yells again, and you're just like,
oh yeah,
ooh. I know it's just a pressure moment, but still, like, oh
yeah. I mean, yeah, no, but that's the thing is like it's so it reads well because it reads real, because you can like the whole first act is you can like palpably feel how frustrated both of the parents are, and you can feel the kids like trying to figure out where the boundaries are. Everything they do seems really real because they have very human reactions to things, you know, like she's not going to be completely chill when she discovers that she's like walked into a villain trap and her kids are with her. Like, obviously she's going to be freaking out, and they have the ability to defend themselves, but they don't really know how to use it, and that's her fault. So, you know, she's got to be like pretty messed up about that too.
Yeah.
Right. Like if she'd just like take them to a field and let them like get their yayas out, she'd have a better understanding of like how to work with them, and they'd have more confidence in like how to be safe in a shitty scenario. And instead she's just like completely not prepared them for what they might have to deal with, and then she has to like leave them alone in a cave.
Well, I think also the part of that frustration is the fact that she gave them specific instructions that they ignored and then ended up somewhere they weren't supposed to be in the first place, right? So now instead of just having to worry about herself and finding her husband, she has to worry about herself. She has to worry about her kids, where she's leaving them, what they're going to do. They can't defend themselves, and she's supposed to find her husband.
Also, her baby is with a complete idiot, imbecile babysitter, which is like worrying. I love that girl. She's so funny because just like she was already over her head before anything manifested.
Yes, she was.
Like, bless her heart, she's trying, but she can't even handle baby. Never mind, super baby.
I love that, like when they get in the car after all, and they get all the messages from her.
She's listening to the voicemail.
Yeah,
I'm totally freaking
out. But I also love the fact that also on the DVD that is included is you get the whole Jack story, so you see what was going on and why she was freaking out and stuff, which is just phenomenal. I love it.
Totally legitimate.
Yeah.
Oh God, the baby is insane.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Think you've got a normal kid, instead you end up with Hellboy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love Jack Jack, but Jack Jack upset is a terrifying thing.
No.
Absolutely terrifying. So
complete agent of chaos.
yeah.
No. No, thank you. I don't even deal well with regular babies. So one that can like spontaneously breathe fire or turn into like a lead weight or whatever, like
too much.
No.
I'd be like,
I'd rather be running through the jungle, and anyone who knows me knows I do not.
I don't run either. Unless I'm playing a sport. Oh no. Even when I'm about to miss the bus, I'm like, I look at my watch, but yeah, I'll take this one. Yeah. I hate running for the bus. You know, you always get there and you're the last person on, and then everybody's staring at you and you're trying to catch your breath and you're like, I was just
boop. Oh, it's totally demeaning.
Yes. It's horrible.
Right. But I perpetually am like 7 to 10 minutes late for everything. So sometimes I have to run for the fucking bus.
You're much better than I am.
Forcing to wake.
Yeah. I must admit, 7 to 10 minutes late, much better than me, which is usually around like 20 to 30 minutes late. I'm a horrible person. And it's probably because I should have run for that bus, but take the next one. That probably explains it all. Yeah.
Maybe.
So another thing in this movie was I put a note, I could use a trip to a tropical island because I was fucking jealous, I must admit.
Yeah.
It
looked the murder bots, but
yeah. Like I mean, yes, a tropical island without murder bots would be lovely. But like mimosas with palm trees, I can do that. That works for me. I'm down for it. Yeah. And my last note is, I don't know why this, like, they murder a lot of people in this movie. A lot of people legitimately die. Yes.
Oh my God. Yes. That was something that I probably, especially like, I mean, they kill a lot of people in general, like buildings are falling and all that stuff, but also on the island, all the guards in those funny saucer things, you like see their face and then you see their thing like smash into a wall and blow up. And it's like,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't mean like the abstract, like the building stuff. So you you just assume people are in there. No. This is like close up, blown up. I just saw your face. Like they're bad guys. Like, I mean, they're using a machine gun against kids. Like, okay, fine. But holy,
they're
like
minions. They're not even in charge of anything.
Yeah. Because usually
death benefits because good grief.
Oh my God. I didn't even think about that part. What if they have families?
We have families.
Yeah. Well, they don't have bodies. They've probably been disintegrated in the explosions. It's fine.
Syndrome is the type that offers a comprehensive benefits package, or does he just like recruit minions who don't have the sense to?
I feel like he offers it to them and they sign some paperwork, but then he accidentally loses it, or he like people come to get it.
I don't know. He wouldn't want to be drawing attention, and angry widows tend to get airtime.
Well, that's true.
No.
Or maybe he like steals youth from the street and trains them in a way that nobody misses them, and that's it.
I mean, he seemed ill-equipped to handle Jack Jack, but maybe. I mean, everyone's ill-equipped to handle Jack Jack, so I guess I shouldn't really fault him for that. Maybe he has also kidnapped additional urchins for his mission of evil or whatever.
Yes, totally possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked about like how much close-up murders there were in this.
Very explicit death. Movie.
Yeah. Well, because even like Syndrome at the end, he has a cape, he gets pulled into his own turbine, and you're just like, oh, I forgot about how horrible that is, and blows up his own plane, and you're just like,
yeah,
jeez. I know that joke came back around, but God, it's a lot.
He didn't come back around.
No, he did not.
No. There's actually I said I'd been watching some trash bag procedurals, and my new favorite one is 911.
What are you talking about? Trash bag? That shit is amazing. No, I can't even say it straight. Yeah, I watched that shit. That shit's awesome.
We'll talk about this later because I have a lot to say. But there's that episode with the guy that gets pulled into the jet engine thing.
Yes.
Because the golf clubs go in first, so they just like start like unscrewing stuff and just like fish him out of there in one piece, and it's just like, all the firefighters standing around just like, how come he's not dead?
Yeah.
I love that show so much. But also having watched somebody be retrieved from one of those, I was like, oh, I wish I didn't have like a real life vision of how this went down right at the forefront of my brain.
Oh my God. Yes.
Because that's a fine dice, friends, and I'm not into it.
Yes. Me watching 911 this is the first time I've publicly admitted to this. Please be nice to me.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Angela Bassett, her current career is just eating up scenery and giving people attitude, and I love it. I'm here for it. I'm down.
So I saw an article. I can't even believe that this is actually true, but she's 63.
Yeah.
Like, her character is on the show is 50, and I like never even thought to question that.
No.
Wow.
I'm actually surprised her character on the show is 50. I would have thought her character on the show is a little bit like, I know she's like a mature, like she's been in like a cop for a long, she's got kids, she's been married and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't think 50. I was thinking maybe like 40, 45, to be honest.
Well, because there's the whole deal with her husband is that she had her kids really late, right? That's why she married Michael.
Yeah.
But so she was like already pushing 40 before she had kids. Or no.
Oh, is that what the timeline is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense because her daughter, the oldest, is going to university.
Like
yeah.
She'd be like her mid-30s. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at some point in the show, they make a reference to her being 50, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw that, and I was just like, ah!
Yeah. That's...
How come she gets to look like that?
I know. Like, but
if just too afraid to come after her, because like I would buy that.
Mm-hmm. She probably just turned around and be like, excuse me, you want this to crack? I don't think so. Done. Yeah. Not happening. What do you
think you're doing? Go away.
Yeah, I love everything she's doing. It's a great. I watched
absolute joy.
She was in Gunpowder Milkshake, which is but every like she doesn't even do that much or say that much, but every scene she's in, you're like, yes, this is what I am talking about. More of this.
That's funny. Yeah, she was the main reason I started watching 911 actually, because I mean, anyone who's ever met me knows I'm obsessed with horrible cop dramas and whatnot, but like but also like it gets increasingly unethical to be like engaging with that kind of shit, right? Because like it is propaganda, and like I'm aware of that. I'm like media savvy enough to know that, but also like it's kind of shitty to support a lot of this stuff. But so I was like, oh, I need another like show to like, you know, just like popcorn show, whatever. And then I was like, all right, Angela Bassett is like not only a star but an executive producer. Like I'm pretty sure if she signed off on it, there's not going to be any funny business here that I need to like with. And and then now I just love it to tiny pieces.
Yeah, for me it's that one and The Rookie. I don't know.
I watched the first season of The Rookie, I think. I haven't watched it since, but that's a good thought. I should look into that.
Yeah. If you want like popcorn proceroral, here's one.
Well, now they're bringing back the original CSI with only the worst people, which is hilarious to me.
I thought that was a fever dream that I saw an ad for that. Okay, that's legitimately happening. Okay.
Yeah, this is a little bit like the Winchester spinoff where I'm just like, I am your exact target demographic, and even I am just like, oh, you guys have lost the fucking plot. What is this?
What are you doing? Not necessary.
What now? Anyway, I'm excited about it. Of course I am.
Yep. Of course you are. Right up your alley. Boo boo.
Yeah. Yes. Straight up my vein, the terrible procedurals.
But those were all of my notes for The Incredibles. I definitely had a smile on my face watching it the whole time, laughed and cackled.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And this is why I don't have any notes. I was too distracted by how good it was.
No, it's a beautifully created film, and like, why would you listen to us talk about it when you could just watch it?
Yeah, go watch it. It's awesome.
Oh, I did have one comment. There's it's like a tweet that went viral or something. It just like pops up in random headlines every once in a while. The whole thing about like how mostly like every Disney mom has an absolute dump truck ass.
Yeah, that's booty for days.
And then there's that scene where she like Helen like puts on the suit and then she like looks in the mirror and it's just like kind of like puffs at the size of her butt or whatever. And I was just like, oh God.
If you didn't pay attention, she kills like 2 people with her butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a scene where she's like stretched between the doors and like one door opens and her back half comes forward and she like knocks like 6 people over. Yeah, no, that is booty for days. That's literally killing people.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, for a tiny stretchy white lady, she's got some junk in that trunk.
You know what I mean? But which is surprising because if she stretches, some reason the booty don't go away. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
for her. Get it, girl.
Get it, girl.
I mean, her husband is like 5 times her size, so it's probably good. She's like substantial.
That she can stretch that way. She can reach all the points.
Wow, this just got really troubling. Okay,
you know, if you Googled enough, you're gonna find that imagery somewhere.
I know better than to Google enough. I think. Listen.
Yes.
DeviantArt has its place in the world, and it's not with me.
Oh, DeviantArt, gotta love it.
Do you mind if? Oh, do you? I don't. Anyway, whatever. I prefer my existential horrors in the written form as opposed to
the visual form. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. No, my imagination is plenty vivid for all manner of horrors.
So, anyways, since we got into some inappropriate territory, I guess we're gonna just talk about Interview with the Vampire.
Yay!
We did it. I don't know when the last time I watched this is, to be honest.
I don't either. And it's like, I love this movie so much. And I don't think I've seen it like in at least 10 years. Like,
oh yeah, for me too. Yeah.
You started off talking about The Incredibles with how much you love the music. That's how I felt about Interview. Cause like,
really?
Okay. For those of you following along at home, I have a lot of big feelings about this movie. I was a huge Anne Rice fan from an inappropriately early age. So this, it was kind of a big deal for me. But yeah, like I used to have the soundtrack that I would listen to when I was studying and stuff. And like, I loved the movie and whatever. I had beef with it, but I loved it. And like, as soon as that first music started, there was just my like heart just gave this like happy little shiver. And I was just like, oh yeah.
to be honest, except for the closing song, I cannot think of any of the music in this movie. Like it's just not.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, and I watched this last night. Like it's not like I watched this like a week ago or whatever.
Well,
I watched it last night.
I mean, there's the soundtrack, which is like a lot of very emotional violin,
of course,
in a variety of fashions and tempos. But also like all the scenes of like, you know, playing the pianoforte and all that stuff. Like that's a big, you know, Claudia eating her piano instructor and Lestat, like,
love that scene.
Soundtracking his own death rattle and all that stuff. Like it's, anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter. I don't know that it's like particularly extraordinary. It just like grabbed me by the heart and just like whipped me back in time to being a teenager who was completely obsessed with Anne Rice. Anyway, I mean, so you guys all get to join me as I like romp through the wonderland of my teenage feelings here, and I'm not even sorry.
Like rewatching this movie, like I remember the interview part and all that kind of stuff, and I remember like 90% of the parts of this movie, but also for some reason I forgot the like stopping in between, like the kind of slightly choppiness of it. Because there's lots of parts where they just like stop and they're back talking to Christian Slater and you're like, you know, and then it jumps to another part and they're like, oh, and 30 years went by and you're like, really 30 years? We're skipping 30 years? You're not Jesus. Like, what are you fucking talking about? What?
Yeah, that
Go
was
back.
Yeah, that was one thing I was going to comment on, especially like, I mean, we were talking a lot about family dynamics with The Incredibles, and obviously that's a thing we're going to have to like address in this as well.
Yes.
Therapist, paging literally any therapist in the universe, please clean up on aisle everywhere. But yeah, like one of the things that they didn't establish very well in the movie was how long Louis and Lestat were together before Claudia came along. And it really, like, looking back on this with adult eyes, it was kind of like, oh man, this is like even more, like, this appears even more fucked up than it is, and it is plenty fucked. Because they didn't really, like, that it all seems very immediate, even though they, like, literally quote the years in the film. So it's like, oh no, they were together for 30 or 40 years before, you know, they'd had this, like, incredibly long relationship before it was failing to the point where they needed a, you know, makeup baby or whatever. But, like, they sort of didn't address that, so it makes everything even crazier.
Like, I absolutely agree, because like at first it was like they were together for like 2 years. Why do they need Claudia? And then you realize you're like, oh no, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, and it I mean, Louis is an incredibly unreliable narrator, and, like,
yes,
you can tell that from the movie, you can tell that from the original book, but obviously, like, if you've read the rest of the series, it's, you know, Lestat spends a lot of time calling him out, and he's not entirely wrong, because Louis is just like the Morrissey of vampires, and he's always like up his own ass whining, even though, bless his heart, I love him. But yeah, no, it makes sense, because it's like, oh yeah, he, like, made this rash decision, and then he's been like, you know, this guy's been, like, dragging him around town, and he's mad, and then all of a sudden everything, I don't know. They were lovers for 30 years before anything, like, actually broke.
yeah, which, yeah. And then Claudia came along, and then that was another 30 years before they killed Lestat.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how long it was just Claudia and
Louis.
Not
very
but
long.
Yeah, but they went to Paris, and they were happy they stayed there for a little bit. Then they went to Europe, and then they ended up in Paris. And because they were searching for a while, and then that's when so I was just like, is that a year? Is that 5 years? Is that, like,
it wasn't very long, because Louis was turned in 1791, and I feel like Claudia dies around 1860, so
no, but that's still, like, would have been,
like,
that's almost,
they were, like, Louis and Lestat were together for like 30 plus years, and then, no, they were together for almost 40, and then Claudia is over 30 before she turns on Lestat, so there wasn't a lot of time in there when it was just the
it's like 5 years,
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was the thing that was getting to me, is like, there didn't seem to be a consistency on the, like, time.
They like throw up little post-it notes of what year it is, but then they don't, like, kind of fill in the gaps that make it seem like that makes sense. I guess. I don't know. I just, oh god, this movie. I have so many feelings. So yeah, so this movie came out when I just turned 13, and I really loved Tom Cruise before this. I was like, I watched Cocktail too many times. I was, like, into it, and I was super excited that he had this, like, crazy movie coming out, and I really wanted to see it. But I was too young. Like, I couldn't see it in the theater. I was 13. I was not even 13 yet. So, you know, whatever. And there was the whole thing with, like, Anne Rice being appalled that he'd been cast, and I was like, oh, that bitch, like, whatever, that's crazy, like, he's the best. And then, so because I was, like, obsessed with this thing, but I couldn't see it, a friend of mine bought me the book of Interview with the Vampire for my 13th birthday. This is why I remember this so clearly, like, the specifics, because it was like, yes, you're about to turn 30, here, happy birthday.
Yeah.
And as we discussed in the Heathers episode, my parents, bless them, were very concerned with what I was watching, but not what I was reading. So down the rabbit hole I merrily strolled. But I remember, like, I read the book, and I just, like, absolutely fell in love with it. And it was like, that was, like, the dawning of my goth phase, which I'm still not recovered from.
Yeah.
Being a goth is like being an alcoholic. You never all the way get better. You're always going to be a goth, I think. But then I remember when I watched the movie the first time, I was just like, oh my god, why did they cast Tom Cruise in this? This is awful.
So what you're telling me is Tom Cruise, because I was gonna ask, like, how do the characters like shape up to the ones in the book? So I guess Tom Cruise did not do a good job.
So here's the thing. He actually did do a very good job. And especially given all the like weird rumors and all the craziness that surrounds like Tom Cruise the person, I feel like he really like put himself out there for like how incredibly like floppy and effeminate he was in this movie. Because
yeah, this movie is excessively homoerotic. Like excessively.
Yeah, I remember like watching this movie and my mom coming in and just being like, "What in the gay hell are you watching?" Like, what is that?
Like the scene when he first bites Louis, and it's just God. Like there's lots of moaning and they're holding each other.
Okay, the stupid flying
in the sky, and I was like, what is
the flying thing happening? Makes me so angry. But yes, well, so the reality of it is that like the subtext is just text basically in the book. Like they are lovers. I mean, they're not like banging because they don't have any blood flow, and so but like they are like in love basically. That's like how that works. That falls in love with Louis. That's why he like, you know, whatever, brings him over to the dark side. But yeah, I don't know. Tom Cruise like did his best with what he had, and like this movie would have been like a scenery chewing horror no matter who was in it.
But all of them just step out and they're just like, I'm gonna choose scenery, chomp.
It's the whole intense thing. It's super intense. I think Kirsten Dunst is like the most restrained person in the whole movie, and she was 11. Yeah. So like, I mean, good job everyone, you know, do you. But I remember I remember thinking at the time like, oh, I'm really glad they cast Brad Pitt. Like he's perfect. He rocks the sexy vampire locks and that like manicure that I find really attractive for reasons that like I don't even want to get into, but like like he's perfect, he's beautiful, and when he's like just doing his like quiet thing, he's like no perfect, and then anytime he tries to emote, it's just like, oh dear God, please stop. That scene after he eats Sandy Newton where he's like standing in the doorway and he's just like, yes, I'm cursed, damned, like your master is the devil. Like, do you have marbles in your mouth? Like, pull it together. This is a big deal, sir. Yeah. Awful.
Well, I have to admit, right before that scene when Sandy Newton is pleading with him about how the slaves want him to come to the like slave quarters and how they miss him and stuff, and I was like, no. No.
Yeah, that's definitely like iffy as shit, but like yeah, it's trying to make a point that now doesn't make, but yeah.
Well, like I think my problem is that like right from the beginning they call him he was like, I was young, I was only 24, you know, I was already a plantation owner and blah blah blah, and I'm like, aka slave owner. Like that's the first thing I thought. And I was just like, I don't feel sorry for this character automatically now. I'm like, you're an asshole, you know?
Yeah. There's no getting around the implications of that.
Well, the thing is even like quote unquote good slave owners were still slave owners. Like,
yeah, they were.
Like, a good slave owner just didn't beat everybody all the time. They only beat like one person a day, and they made sure they ate something. Like,
sure. And like it's entirely possible that like, you know, like those scenes are weird. They're weirdly filmed because they're meant to be, but like, you know, like she is a slave and he is the man, but also like they probably grew up together in that house, so they would have a relationship that wasn't just like a serving relationship, but also like, yeah, they took it too far of like the whole thing with, you know, trying to get him to, it's never going to go well. And it's interesting because I don't know if you've read it, but they're doing a new series. I think it's AMC is doing a series.
Okay.
And Anne Rice is involved somehow, and her son, I think, is like an executive producer or whatever, like is writing it. So like they're actually involved in this one, which is good. But they just cast Louis, and he's, I don't know, I think he's mixed black and white. He's definitely not white.
Interesting.
And I am fascinated to see what happens there, because how does the story, like, it's going to completely change the story. And he's still going to be a plantation owner, and that is like, you know, that was a thing. But are you Googling right now?
Oh yes.
You're making
Oh
a
yes.
Yeah.
They
yeah,
don't.
I believe he's mixed black and white, which would make absolute sense if he was going to be playing a Louisiana plantation owner. But like, how does the rest of that work? Like,
Well, and this is the problem. Like, I understand wanting to include people of color and all that kind of stuff in this,
sure.
but if you're gonna start off with somebody being a plantation owner in the 1700s, that's white people bullshit.
It's
So
not though. That's the thing, actually, and that's one thing that's like that I know because I was a crazy Anne Rice fan. Is like that's the thing that she wrote about. Like she has a novel that she wrote all about like the free people of color who were like an entire class in Louisiana, right? Like, you know, they were like the white slate, like the white plantation owners would have like separate houses with mistresses in New Orleans, and they were basically like they signed basically like prenup, they signed like marriage contracts effectively, and they had children, and there were like, you know, it was like a whole section of society that was like fancy proper society but was not included in white society. It was just like a whole other thing, right? So actually there were a lot of mixed plantation owners who like,
but sir, wasn't that what they sort of hinted at I'm sorry to bring this up, Bridgerton, where they had like you know, like a queen that was married to like a white man, but she was black, and they're, you know, the Duke was like a mixed guy and blah blah blah. But they made comments throughout it saying they put up with us, but you know, we'll never be one of them. There was like 2 comments in the whole show about it.
I haven't actually seen Bridgerton, but
okay.
on my list, but I haven't got there.
You really don't have to. It's fine.
I know. I mean, I kind of feel like but anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, no, I'm sure that's the thing is like that was, I mean, it's always happened, but yeah, there was like in Louisiana in particular, there was like a whole subset.
Okay.
They had these relationships that like.
So just so you know, the guy who's hired to play Louis is Jacob Anderson. I looked up his picture and I'm like, he looks super familiar. He's the guy who played Grey Worm on Game of Thrones. He is a very attractive man.
I on purpose didn't watch that, but he is very fetching. It's true.
But
it's just going to be interesting to see like how that, because like the portion of the story of Interview that takes place in Louisiana, that's not going to change very much because like a Creole landowner is a Creole landowner, and they don't like, it doesn't matter particularly what color they are. I don't think, like, I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but like it's not going to raise any eyebrows. But when he goes to Paris with a presumably white child, like how the fuck does that work? Or maybe they're going to have to cast Claudia also not white, because otherwise, like, France ain't ready for that, I don't think.
Well, I mean, to be honest, even within the movie, it was a grown-ass man with a little girl who were having what looked like to be a little too much fun together. Like they come across inappropriate. Like the whole thing comes across inappropriate.
And it's the whole, the dynamic is super squirrely in the movie. Like the whole thing with like Lestat bringing her a doll every year, and it's just like, she is 30. Like, but also somehow she never put it together that she was never going to grow up. Like, I don't know. They were all nuts. But
I don't think the fact, like, I don't think she never thought she was going to grow up. I think she came to that realization that they would
really realize the
implications. And then it got to a point where I think, as like throughout it, like she calls Louis her love, my beloved, or whatever,
right?
And she's in love with him, but they can't be together because she isn't an adult. And it gets very
they can be together,
questionable throughout the whole, not on screen, because I mean theoretically as vampires, yes. In real life, when you see a child with an adult, no.
Well, no, they can't act like a couple, but they can be in public because everyone just assumes she's his daughter. But I remember at the time because Kirsten Dunst is like about my age, and everyone thought, oh, Brad Pitt's dreamy, and like she kept getting asked in interviews about like, oh, what was it like to?
Oh, she was grossed out by it. Yeah,
and she was just like, he's old, like, ugh. He was like in his mid-30s, and she was 11. I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
Actually, they're both Steve.
Yeah, because if you think about it too much, even the implications of like the filming of some of those scenes and like just the world they're in as well, fictionally, you're just like, it's all icky. It's
so demented. The whole family dynamic there is just like a mess.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I liked how they handled the kissing scene though, with him like lying on the railing. So it's like everyone is super clear where all of his limbs are every moment of it, and like there's no cozy. It's like literally just a like baby bird in and out, like so it makes sense for like the emotion of the scene, but also like nobody's touching anybody more than absolutely necessary.
Exactly.
It's stylish. It's like a really stylish way to just be like, no, as unicky as we can make this, let's do that.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
But yeah, because it's a whole squirrely nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because like I found myself grimacing at that whole sequence. Like when they first find her the plague house, and then Lestat dancing with her dead mother and stuff.
Oh my god.
Which was
the old lady yet.
Yeah. There was a lot in that scene, and then he says that line and you're just like, you just ruined it. That was just pure camp. But I love her transformation, like when she drinks the blood and whatever, and then her face changes and the hair gets stuff, and she's when that
happens to Louis, when the blood disappears, I was like, I hate this. What are they doing? That makes no sense. There's like, that's not what did your face just like suck in the blood like some kind of like spa treatment? What the hell? And then I remembered when Claudia, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Exactly.
I will grudgingly accept this filming choice because that was pretty fucking badass, but also idiotic.
But yeah, like that scene, I don't even remember what my point was gonna be.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But anyways, I just thought that scene was very cool and stuff. Oh, yes. So like when they first change her and she is like legitimately a child and she's like, what's going on? I'm going to be insolent and blah, 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 because I'm going to do whatever I want. Fine. You like her. She's great. But then all of a sudden it's like 30 years and she's talking like an adult and she's holding on to them like she's an adult with them. She's dressing like an adult, but just miniature. And you're just like, I just remember starting to like grimace more and more scenes that she was in because it's like, oh, this is making me uncomfortable. I don't like it.
You're basically watching it fall apart, right? Like,
yeah.
It makes sense. That family dynamic could never have continued because somebody's always left out of it, and like Stat taught her how to be perfect and ruthless, so she's gonna be perfect and ruthless. And if she thinks he's holding her back, she's gonna try and kill him.
Mm-hmm. I do enjoy how ruthless she ends up being, though. And she's like, I'm just going to murder this motherfucker. Like, just die. Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, she was incompetent at it. But...
yeah, because I was like, my first question is like, why would you throw him in the swamp? Just burn him. Like, you said burn first.
You can't just have a fire in downtown New Orleans. As they learned, it burns down half the fucking French Quarter when you knock over a lamp.
Yes. But yeah,
not everyone has a giant backyard where they can just toast a body, Tracy. Come on now.
Don't you? I mean,
there are no giant backyards in the French Quarter. It's an extremely compact place. Beautiful, amazing, full of adorable courtyards. Not a lot of places for unrestricted fire.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Why do I agree? I've never been there. I don't know. I can't verify.
Well, we should work on that. But
yes, I know. I'm trying to think of like what my first trip is going to be when I'm allowed to travel again. I know technically we're allowed to travel, but with all this shit on airlines, and I don't want to sit on a mask for like 20 hours. Like, no. Yeah. So I'm going to wait a bit longer.
I'm not there yet, but the milestone birthday I'm not currently acknowledging that might be sneaking up on me. When it's safe again, I'm going to book a friend's trip to New Orleans. So you should come.
Okay. Yeah, mine was last year and we just ignored it. It was fine.
I mean, I'm probably going to ignore it this year and then pretend later when it's safe. And Louisiana.
No, it's technically
underwater or plague.
Oh,
but
that's probably a good thing.
They're having a bad time, but
yes. Ugh.
Yeah.
Or I mean, you could get turned into a vampire, or you could become a witch that lives forever, according to TV shows and stuff. So it all happens down there.
Yeah, no, it's a spooky place even without all the actual supernatural stuff. So
yeah,
I'm into it. It's my favorite.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Would you want to live forever? Like, ignore the vampire part. Like, you don't have to suck blood. You don't have to like sacrifice goats or anything. Would you want to live forever?
I'd like the option.
Yeah, I get that.
Because that's the thing is, like, unless it's some sort of like insane curse situation, if it is that like you become a supernatural being or whatever, that you like, if you decide you're tired of it, you can always dip out. Right?
I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah. I mean, it depends on what it is. Like, because I mean, like, death becomes her. They literally can't die, right?
Yeah.
Whereas,
no,
like,
I mean, I'm not gonna trust that scenario, but I'd rather not have to spray paint my hands back into living color.
That only happened because they killed their bodies.
Exactly. No. I'm klutzy as shit. That situation would be
that would totally be. I just like the day after I trip over.
100% I would, because like yeah, especially like Anne Rice vampires, because they can like go underground and not be around for long periods of time and then just like claw their way back up. I'm like, oh, this seems like a fun new century. All right, let's check it out.
Let's do this. Yeah,
I would 100% do that. Yes.
I don't know if I'd want to live forever. Like, I think I'm in the boat of, if I'm the only one who can live forever, then no. But if I can like bring a friend along or something,
well, yeah,
then yes.
Yeah, an eternity of solitude is different, but yeah. But yeah, if you can have companions or whatever, like, I don't know. Which segues really well into talking about Armand.
Oh, yes, Armand.
Oh my God. I knew it was bad, but when that fucking Morticia Addams wig showed up, I was alone in the woods in my cottage and I shrieked at my laptop like a fucking angry banshee.
Yeah. I had no words for like, so I do have one question though, because after looking at this and him saying how old he is and all this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Does the length of their hair match their age?
No. No.
Okay, because so Antonio Banderas' character, he thinks he's the oldest vampire out there, and it's like by his butt. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Then you have Louis, who's lived for like 200 years, and it's at like his shoulder. And then you have Lestat, who's been around for maybe 250, 300 years, and it's mid-back. I'm just asking.
No, because Claudia proved when she had her little tornado rebellion fit that her hair just went right back to where it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
All right.
Louis had long hair when he was alive, so presumably Armand was walking around like that even before he was. Before
that?
Oh, yeah. So, oh my God. Okay, can we? I have to rant about the aesthetics of the whole Theater of the Vampires thing, because.
Okay. Before we get there, what was with the deal with the one guy mimicking Louis before Armand shows up? Like, what was that whole thing about?
The dipshits are gonna dipshit.
Okay, that's it.
I think so. I mean, any strange vampire showing up is going to be cause for some alarm, but I think he was basically just hazing him.
Okay, just checking, because I was sitting there very confused. It's like, what is this about?
I don't think it has big plot implications, if that's what you're asking.
All right.
No, he was just like poking him because he could. And it just kind of was illustrating that, like, you're like, I don't know, he was that Armand was not exactly surrounded by the cream of the crop, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, oh God, that fucking wig just like killed me, because so in the books, Armand is quite an important character in several books, and he's from the Renaissance, and he is like a teenager. He's like a beautiful 17-year-old boy who looks like a Botticelli angel. Like, he's got green eyes and auburn hair, and it's all very specific. And
that is not what is in this movie.
No, And I can see that, in a big budget Hollywood movie coming off Brad Pitt kissing a literal child, that they're not going to just like make, you know, make it seem like he's now thirsting after a teenage boy, because like that's a lot
It's a little too much. Yeah.
a lot to come to grips with. So they cast an adult, great. They cast Antonio Banderas, great. He's like a snack, okay, fine. Sexy accent, grown-ass man, fabulous. But then why did they make him look like that? He's a very attractive man, and they let him wear a Morticia Adams wig, and it was awful.
Yeah.
And then, anyway, whatever, doesn't matter. It's still, you can still see the chemistry. Like, at least they did that, and the like almost kiss thing. Like, apparently that was the actors. That was like in no way part of the script, and they just like there, which I like, because like for the year that it was made, to have two like big marquee stars like Brad Pitt and Antonio Banderas, like at least acknowledging the gay shit, even if they weren't kissing, was like kind of a big deal.
Yes, I agree.
So,
definitely.
And like, and yeah, like props, like the director didn't ask them to do it. They were just like, yeah, this is like obviously a thing that should be happening in this scene. So they like went ahead and did it, and that was cool. But yeah, it's really hard for me to like get on board with that whole storyline of the theater stuff, because it's just like the aesthetics are so bad. Like that whole creepy Eyes Wide Shut shit with the naked girl, and they're all wearing like sad sequin capes from Spirit Halloween, and like this movie's budget was immense, and you gave all these men these like beautiful manicures, but you couldn't find velvet that didn't look like it was like a literal trash bag. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I was just yeah.
That whole like
I was having some
production
struggles with that scene.
Oh, I believe it.
I almost texted you, and then I was like, no, save it for the podcast. I wasn't at the level of rage I achieved when we watched Dracula, and I was just like spamming you. It was just like, what is this bullshit? Leave the scenery alone. What did it do to you?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. I sat there watching that whole like, we're putting on a play where vampires pretending to be human who are pretending to be vampires thing. And I was just like, I don't see the point of any of this. Like, even if you are actually human or whatever, there was nothing entertaining that they were doing on stage. There was nothing interesting. You're just like, oh, now she's naked and she looks legitimately scared.
I mean, isn't that just like the avant-garde theater story?
Maybe, I don't know, but I was watching. I was just like, none of this is nothing. Well, this isn't doing anything.
I mean, the whole purpose is to make us understand why Armand is so willing to walk away from them, right? Because like they just don't have anything to say that anyone cares to hear. They're just like, they're just doing this like weird shitty pantomime of being vampires and like strutting around thinking they're the shit when like there's nothing going on there, right?
Yeah,
like, they're all
which he legitimately says, like, out loud, so
yeah, but like they actually did show it before they told it, which is good, because they didn't do a lot to like build on the relationship between Louis and Armand. Like, it's chemistry, but there's not like a lot of relationship there, which I feel like in the book there's a lot more reason for Claudia to be like going crazy with jealousy, because he's like actually falling in love with this other vampire. So she's going all squirrely, and like in the books as well, like Madeline is around for a while before they.
Oh, it's not just like the one night.
No. Like Claudia is making plans, and she like, I mean, it's the same sort of emotional blackmail where she forces Louis to make her a companion. But also like it seems much more legitimate that he might actually leave her for like, that he does want to be with Armand, and so she needs somebody to like
to be with her,
keep her life going.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the timeline is like massively sped up in the movie, so it gets kind of crazy.
Yeah, I did feel sad for her, because you're just like, look, I've made this big commitment. I'm gonna become a vampire and live forever, and she's gonna be my little girl, my replacement for my daughter. And then 3 minutes later, dead.
Yeah.
You're like, what?
No. I get why they didn't want to like, bring her into it and make, whatever. Like, I understand that from like a filmmaking perspective, but also like, it's pretty brutal. She's been a vampire for 20 minutes. Now she's getting toasted in the sun. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
That poor lady. All she wanted to do was be a crazy lady who made dolls. But
yes.
Back to the aesthetics. I want their dresses, both of them. That green dress, that blue
Oh,
dress.
the green dress is beautiful. Yeah.
I want, I mean, I don't even go outside anymore, but I don't care. I'll just like Miss Havisham around my house in a green satin dress like that. Like, fine. Give it to me, please. I love it.
Yes. Why not? You got to dress up sometime, whether you're going outside or not.
Sure.
So done. Mm.
Yeah. Find me on Zoom in my beautiful green silk ball gown. Awkward choker. Yeah. Anyway, the whole Paris situation is insane in this movie.
It is.
I mean, it's insane in the story, and then the actual filming of it is just like cuckoo banana pants.
But that's the thing. Like, I think their whole time in Paris just seems so short compared to everything else around it. But it feels like something's missing in that segment.
I mean, it
right?
has to be short, right? Because as soon as they encountered the other vampires, the clock is ticking because they can't explain where Lestat is, right? So like they're in trouble. They're in big trouble.
Suppose, yeah.
So, you know, they like they don't get their honeymoon in Paris because as soon as they land, they're in danger, basically.
Well, I think I'm more mean in proportion to the rest of the movie than the actual like time period, you know?
Oh, like our timeline, not theirs, you mean?
Yeah, like because like the time in New Orleans and all that kind of stuff just seems so long. Then they go to Paris, and then him wandering the earth after he like massacres them seems like it seems quick, but still more than Paris for some reason.
Sure.
And then it's the end of the movie, and you're just like, wait, something's missing. Something is missing in here somewhere.
No, that makes sense. That does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
But also,
as you said before, the pacing of the movie is a little bit weird, and some of that is like the interview framework. The book's like that too, actually, where you're like super engaged, and then you're just like, wait, who's this Yahoo again?
Yeah, I mean, it works in Princess Bride, not an Interview with the Vampire. It's fine.
I mean, you know, it does its job, but it's a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'd forgotten that was supposed to be River Phoenix when I saw the.
He had died like the summer before or something.
Like he'd already been cast, and then they had to replace him.
Oh, now that made it sadder. Oh,
sorry, I didn't mean to bring real death into the Festival of Death.
Yeah.
Although he would have been oddly young for the role, I feel. But anyway.
No, but for like an aspiring like interviewer who works at a radio station and has a cassette recorder, it'll be fine.
Stronger intern vibes, but yes.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a note here. When they turn Claudia, so this just turned into my two dads.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody who doesn't think that all of Anne Rice's work is gay as fuck is just not paying attention.
Yeah, they're not. Well, I mean, in general, like I was watching it and I came with like, even like, you know, Bram Stoker and all that kind of stuff. Well, technically in like the book Dracula, he only bites women.
Yeah.
But anyways, but like being a vamp. Sorry.
How narrow-minded of him.
Right. But like the thing is, being a vampire and how you get blood out of people, whoever you bite, is very sexual no matter who it is. So like it can't help, like a man biting a man can't help but be a little, you know, erotic. But like, you know, when he's biting the women and stuff like that, it's also very erotic. Like it's just it doesn't matter who it is. You're just like, oh, you know, with their slow talking and their hair flipping and their eating scenery, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm gonna bite you. Like it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. Brad Pitt rocked up on me looking like that. I'd be like, all right.
Yeah. Let's just guess this is how I'm gonna die because I am and just like let's go.
My self-preservation instinct is not enough to withstand this.
Mind you, if Tom Cruise came up to me dressed like that, I'd be like, I'm gonna get the brooding one over there. Thanks. I'll see you later.
Yeah, I imagine that was a problem in their marriage. Lestat does love to be the center of attention, and
yeah, definitely, you definitely had somebody there taking your spotlight.
Some people are more into Louis.
Mm-hmm. Very much
Me,
so. I'm okay
those
with
people.
that.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Tom Cruise in that blonde wig was just,
It's like
it's
he
a
did
lot.
a really good job with what he was given, but like there was more caricature than there needed to be in the way that general, and then also he just like went very, I can't even think of a polite way to say it, but like he was just like mincing about doing the gayest thing he could possibly do, and which is fine, but like it's a bit weird because it's like so, I don't know, his performance is strange, I guess.
Yeah, I think his performance comes across as a caricature of what somebody thinks a vampire should be. Like, they're like, I read a book on a vampire, and then I saw a drag show with a person who said they were a vampire. So vampire stuff. Done.
But also, it's interesting because I mean, I don't think this is why Tom Cruise chose to do what he did, but like, again, sorry, if you read the source material, I'm that asshole. But like, Interview with a Vampire is obviously told from Louis' perspective, and he's like not super stoked on Lestat and his general everything when he's telling the story. So he is a very unreliable narrator, and he found him disappointing. So
he did,
character, anyone doing a good job of playing Lestat is going to be disappointing to the viewer as well, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like he seems like this crazy caricature, but also is that because he behaved that way, or is that because Louis is like remembered it that way because he was mad at the time, right?
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. That's very true.
Like, that's how it comes across, and it's like discussed in the books because obviously, like in the second book where Lestat is like writing his autobiography, he's like, and I read that fucking trash that my ex said about me, and let me tell you what, like there's it's like a little bit less shady than that, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
He has stuff to say about how Louis remembered things, and so like that's so some of it is just the script, some of it is Tom Cruise just like deciding he wants to like put on lace cuffs and flounce all over a movie for a while, which like I super support and I wish he'd do it again. But like
I mean, also,
yeah,
the lace cuffs is the thing that sells me, to be honest.
The last scene where he shows up in the car and he's pulling the car, I was just like, this is so stupid, I'm dying, but also I have big feelings, so I like can't be as mad about it as I need to be. And like,
oh, can I say something with that scene? So 3 seconds before that, you had Louis talking about finding him in some house or whatever, and he didn't know what lights were, but yet he can drive a car. I mean,
he knew. It's not that he didn't know what lights were. He just didn't know why. Like he didn't realize like there was a helicopter with a search beam. No, he hasn't been out of the world for that
long. I don't know. It had me very like, really driving a
car. It was all a little dumb.
Yes,
there's a few dumb things. The whole thing where Louis talking about how he finally gets to see the sunrise, the magic of movies, and then like one of the like 4 clips they show is the famous sunset scene from Gone with the Wind.
Yeah. Well, it's Nosferatu, Gone with the Wind, and Superman.
Right, so... but he's just like, oh, and I got to see the sunrise. Like, sir, that's not a sun.
No, not at all.
One of the most famous sunsets in cinematic history, and you are a dumbass. What did the intern cut this part? Come on now.
Anyway, like just something with the sun on the edge of the horizon.
Very beef on my part. That's always bothered me. Even when I was an impressionable teenager, I was like, that's a fucking
The sun is going down. Very different, guys.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
I mean, you can appreciate a sunset too, but you seem to have a sunrise thing. So like maybe figure out which way it's going. Yeah. I don't know. It's like it's such a weird movie because it's like it's so beautifully made, and like you can tell that most of the people who were involved really cared about what they were doing, but then it just goes from like totally sublime to like, what is this horse shit, and back again. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, it's one of those movies. I will sort of agree with you that it's beautifully made. But there are definitely scenes in there where I was just like, gorgeous, gorgeous. What? Gorgeous, gorgeous. You know, like,
Well, yeah, that's what I mean though. Like there was such unbelievable attention to detail in so many scenes, and then all of a sudden they just like crap out on something major, and you're like, yeah, I mean, sorry to go back to the theater thing, but like that beautiful set with the catacombs and then like the costumes collectively cost $6. Like, what? But why? No, don't do, like, spend $10. Don't do that.
yeah. Well, because
Like,
even the scene where he was using his thing and he cut one of the vampires in half and you saw like inside of the vampire,
yeah.
you're just like, oh my god, that's amazing. But what is he wearing though? That's weird.
Yeah, no, it is weird. And like apparently like they lit a whole bunch of the movie with orange paper lantern. So like that's one of the reasons it has such like this beautiful dreamy quality, is because there's never any direct light on anything, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, this like gorgeous mute, like, but like practically muted lighting. But then yeah. And so it's like, oh, you took so much care that you like lit it in this crazy way so that everybody would look beautiful. And then the next scene, you're just like, what's that guy doing here? And like the thing, like, oh, or like the scene with the poodles is like as dumb as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Like everybody's so outsized, and it's just like I see where you were going, but you didn't really get there. Like you did turn this into a farce, and you didn't need to.
Yeah.
You know, because that scene does happen in the book, but it's like a different, like it's not a seduction into poodle transition in quite the same fashion. Like,
yeah, like he's going for the neck and then keeps looking at the dogs, and you're like, ooh, sexy dogs. It didn't come across as like, I don't want to bite her. It came across as like, I'm turned on by the dogs, I'm gonna bite them, is what happened.
Yeah, because like there's definitely a scene in the book where Louis ends up like eating a noblewoman's poodle, and Lestat is then forced to kill her, and it's just like, you just wasted this and made a mess. Like, why did you do that? But it didn't have to be like, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's a very strange movie.
It is frustrating. Like there were definitely like parts where I was like super interested in what was going on, but then all of a sudden I just got like disconnected from it, and I was like, and I'd find myself like pick up my phone, and I'm just like, no, put your phone back down, you're watching the movie. And then all of a sudden I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this, oh, this is so cool. And then staring, and then all of a sudden I'm like haphazardly pick up my phone again, like, no, put down your phone.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it held my attention very well, but I think mostly that's because of my like history.
You're just undying love for it.
Yeah, like even at the time, even when it got me into my favorite author of a decade, but also like even when I watched it as a 13-year-old, there were moments where I was just like, what the shit is this?
Yeah, when a child notices your mistake, you know you've done something.
Well, yeah,
wrong.
And I had some like reflexive rage where I was just like, why am I angry? And then something would happen, I'd be like, oh, there it is. Yeah, the scene where on the pier where Lestat bites Louis, and then they like float up, like they like are up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
What? This sucks even worse than it. Like, no.
Yeah. That scene came across like it was just too much. Like I was like, I don't know.
Like they were trying to break the homoerotic tension, and that's annoying because like he literally just like chose him because he lusted after him, and now he's like biting him in the neck. Like you can't.
Yeah, but how is the floating? How is the floating supposed to break that? Like that just made it more. I find.
But I mean like visually, because there's a difference between like tenderly lying together and slurping on each other's necks versus like now we're floating and now I'm gonna like drop you and your 87 layers into the fucking river and you're gonna have to like climb out like a hood rat and, whatever, stagger your ass home. Like that was nobody's finest moment.
No, not at all. Yeah,
object to seeing Brad Pitt wet, but like he was wearing so many layers that it just looked uncomfortable instead.
No. You just look like you're lucky you didn't drown from all the weight of that fabric.
Yeah, and then he's just like staggering like a cheap drunk all the way, and like you're like, okay, fine, but like, yeah, it just seemed like they were sort of artificially breaking the mood and being like, and like also just trying to make him look powerful, except that nothing about that makes him look powerful because it actually just makes him look like he lost control, like a jackass, and like,
Yeah.
because yeah, like in that universe, there are vampires who can fly, but like they kind of like levitate. They don't just like get so up in someone's veins that they accidentally end up 20 feet above the pier. Like, I don't know. Like the physics of it are dumb. The aesthetics of it are dumb. Story point is never addressed again, so it's dumb. Like
everything in here is incorrect.
It was just pointless and silly.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say they made an artistic choice that failed.
Sure did. Yeah.
You look so unimpressed by that comment. It's fine.
Yeah, no. Again, like there are like a handful of moments in the movie to just like inspire me to rage and always have. And like it's just like this was so close to a great scene. Again, coming back to the thing where Brad Pitt is like yelling at the slaves from the door of the plantation, which should have been like an awesome and powerful moment, and instead it sounded like he was like trying not to choke on his mouthwash because he like forgot to prepare for the scene or whatever. Like
and also when he starts burning them the house because he's in like a rage or whatever, it just came across as like I'm clumsy at first, and then I still have the thing, so I'm gonna pretend like this wasn't an accident, and I'm gonna burn the rest of it.
It just, yeah, I don't hate that part, but like then the whole thing where they like spilling the like food and like the crawfish flying everywhere, and it's just like, if you need the help of a whole chafing dish to emote, I got bad news, friend.
A whole chafing, not half a chafing, just a whole chafing.
Yes. Creatures with faces, no less. Sitting to throw in the mashed potatoes. Okay, here we go. Yeah. But like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of dig the scene where he's burning it all down. I'm not gonna lie. Although the whole thing with the wife is kind of lame, but like the portrait and everything, like,
yeah. Well, I mean,
I get why
he's giving it up.
I get why they changed it to a wife, but like in the novel, it's his younger brother who dies that causes him to like go into a tailspin. Like he takes over the plantation, and his younger brother is like very religious and probably is going to train to be a priest, but he basically I think he has like some kind of like he's like schizophrenic or something. Like obviously they don't have the term for it in that era, but like he's like religious to the point of mania and gets like increasingly unstable, and then he dies like falling down a flight of steps, and it might have been deliberate, or it might have been Lestat, or it might have been like there's like a lot of like questions around it, and that's partly why Louis like goes so bonkers and is like trying to basically like kill himself without killing himself.
I guess it'd be one of those things where there'd be too much backstory to explain why he'd go crazy why they for his brother.
Because it's really easy to just be like, oh yeah, his wife died and now he's crazy, but yeah, it was a different relationship in the book, and so like that was like the last member of his family that he was supposed to protect, and then he died like on their plantation in a weird circumstance, and so that's why. And then but also it might have been suicide, so Louis like feels like he can't go that route, so because then it like kind of confirms that, so whatever, the whole thing, it's like a very emotional whatever, but like he's more vulnerable. It makes more sense how vulnerable he is to Lestat, I guess, because he's so fucked up.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense. Yeah. That really does change the dynamic quite a bit if you think about it in the story.
Yeah.
But I also think they may have, like, at the time, trying to get away from the homoerotic nature. You're like, oh, he's already a single man who wasn't married.
Yeah.
Lived with his brother.
He had a wife. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I assume, like, I haven't read the book in a long time, and I should really do it again, but, like, I don't recall there being implications that Louis is, like, gay, but it would certainly make sense if that was something he was struggling with already.
Yeah. Already, exactly.
All under the spell of a fancy, handsome vampire.
Yes, who looked into
also they actually like spoke to each other. It wasn't just like the weird Tinder hookup of the movie. Like they like kind of know what he was getting into, and he did kind of know the stat before he was like, yes.
So it wasn't like a random attack one night and then all of a sudden the next day he's like, I'm gonna give you a choice, and that was it.
Yeah, it's a little less wham bam thank you ma'am than it is in the movie for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Even by Lestat standards, that's a rough way to start a relationship.
I mean, everybody else he just murders randomly, so it's fine.
He's a little murdery, it's true.
Yeah. I did like the fact that he saved him and he's like, where are we? Like, we're in a crypt. Like, what did he call them? Like no, not like commoners. He says a very funny line when they wake up in the crypt after the burning of the house.
Yeah. Peasants? They called them
maybe peasants. Yes.
I think so.
Yes,
we're in a crypt like peasants.
Yeah, I did laugh at that line. I was like,
yeah,
that was funny.
That whole scene is great because he's just like, what did you do? Like
look what you've done. We had a nice house and we had money and we had stuff.
And now look at us. Like, yeah.
I did agree with that line. Yes.
Well, for sure. Yeah, Louis never had to think about practicalities because he's always had this like giant ass plantation house at his disposal, and now it's like, well, you just burned all your money to the ground. So good luck with that, I guess.
Yeah, have a good time with that.
Yeah, you can live in a crypt and eat rats, I suppose, but also, how about a fancy apartment in the French Quarter?
Yeah. Where did they get all their money? They didn't seem to work anymore. His house was burnt down. I guess they did have banks still, so they would have had.
Lestat would have had some of his own money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't totally a sugar baby scenario. Like,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have had some, but also, I mean, if you're willing to kill whoever, you just pick their pockets or you take their stuff. Like,
that's true. I didn't think about that part.
Laws were sort of a suggestion at that point, so it was a lot easier to part a fool from their money.
Yes.
As it were.
Very easily.
Yeah, they probably just ate whoever the landlord was of the apartment.
And this is our house now. Thank you.
Yeah. I drew up a document. Come at me, bro.
Like, can you prove this isn't real? Because if you can, I'll just murder you now.
And if they did, then Lestat probably just ate them, so it's fine.
Yeah, or Claudia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true. Well, never in the house.
Never.
That scene is so great.
Yeah.
The piano teacher and everything. Just like, what have we told you? Never in the house.
It's like, kids running in the house. You're like, what have we said? But this time it's death. It's fine.
Don't leave bodies in the house.
Yeah, I live by that rule every day. Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of not having corpses on my property. Yes.
Yeah. Works out well. Interesting. On that note, any final thoughts?
I can't wait for the new series because there's a lot of stuff this didn't deal with that I hope that they will.
I am, now that I know that this is a thing that's happening, I am quite curious, I must admit.
It's like, this is one of those like weird cursed properties. Like, because the novel came out in 76 and then the movie came out in
94.
94?
4.
Like, and like at some point, like people bought the movie rights and then they like lost them. And then like, it was like, I don't know, like 5 different studios had them before it finally got made. And then like, since then it's been like they've reverted. I think they finally reverted to her, but like to Anne Rice, but like, it's like people step up to take a swing and it's like, oh yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it just keeps not getting exploited. And it's weird because like, I mean, she has, a dozen novels in this series plus like the Mayfair Witches, which I think is also being adapted, but like she's like an unbelievable best-selling author and like vampires were huge. And yet somehow like the godmother of vampire stories like couldn't get her shit made into movies for love or money, like for like weird studio reasons.
Well, I think one of the reasons why it fell apart too was because what is it, Queen of the Damned came out a couple of years after that one, and then
please don't speak to me about that. Holy shit.
Well, and I think that's the thing that kind of shut it down.
Well, that was definitely a blip, but that's what I mean. Like, even before this movie got made, the rights were owned by multiple people. Like,
no.
But sorry. Yeah, also Queen of the Damned was like fuck awful.
Yeah. Well, it was actually in 2002, so that was a good 8 years later.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe
saw
that
that
wasn't
movie.
the problem.
I remember sitting in the theater watching that movie and like basically hiding behind my popcorn bag, just like, what in the MTV hell is this? And
Yeah.
at some point, one of the friends I was with who was sitting next to me turned to me. He'd also read the books, but he wasn't like a super fan like me. And I remember he turned to me and he was just like, I'm sorry this is happening to you. Thank you. This is awful. Holy balls.
Yeah, I mean, I know for a fact I saw this in the theater and I bitched and moaned about it, but for the life of me, except for Aaliyah being in it, I don't remember anything about this movie.
But also she was completely wasted in it because she was like stunning and she looked the part, but they did a thing to her voice. She sounded like some fucking balaclava clad idiot in a phone booth. Like it was a nightmare.
I remember her not even being in it as much as you thought she was going to be in it.
I mean, that's actually true to the book. And also they stuffed a bunch of like, so Queen of the Damned is the third book in the series and the second one is the Vampire Lestat, and they crammed a bunch of the storyline from the Vampire Lestat into like the setup of Queen of the Damned and then didn't talk about any of the cool stuff and then just kind of like skipped ahead. But like even if you did Queen of the Damned perfectly, like she's not, it wouldn't be the like
I'm sorry, listeners, you're missing the pain on her face. She tries to articulate her feelings.
It's not even, yeah. I mean, whatever. I've been a babbling fool tonight anyway, but like, yeah, there's a lot of the storyline where she is a symbol before she becomes a person again. I guess is the short answer. So that actually does sort of make sense. But yeah, I don't know. That whole movie was like, it was like a music video that like got power happy and started to eat the neighbors. It was weird.
And I think this is even before Underworld came out and stuff, and that was like the same kind of like dark, stylized, practically a music video thing.
I could not get into those movies at all.
I watched all of them.
Which is weird because again, I should be like their primary like target demographic, and I remember like being like, I think I watched the first one, and at the end, I was just like, that was kind of boring.
No, my problem with the first one is that, they made such a big deal about this half vampire, half werewolf dude. And then when he transforms, you're just like, this is the lamest thing you could think of. It's just like, he was just like painted black from head to toe and growled. You're just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
This is not a thing.
Yeah. He's like, if like the crazy, scary thing from Hannibal was boring. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, the costume design was shitty because I remember at some point just being like, Kate Beckinsale is like smoking hot, and hot chicks in PVC are smoking hot, and somehow they've made Kate Beckinsale in PVC not hot. How'd they do that?
What? You're crazy.
Mostly, but then like there were certain period where it was just like, I don't understand how she looks boring. That shouldn't be possible.
Maybe
all day, every day. Come on, but no, somehow
no.
Not. In that movie. I don't know. It was confounding. That's why I'm like still mad about it, even though I don't remember like most of the plot.
I mean, to be honest, the prequel movie they did for it was the best movie in the series. Is it Blood? No, Awaken? No, Rise of the Lycans. Sorry. Yeah, I had to go through each one of them. Yeah, like that one was like the prequel that set up like the first movie. Sure. It was great. And I'm sorry, Michael Sheen, you forget Michael Sheen does like cheesy movies like this. Like he was in freaking Twilight, for Christ's sake. But like in this, he's like the leader of the werewolves and stuff, and how he growls and shit. You're just like, this is amazing. Love it.
Is that how he ended up married to Kate Beckinsale?
Possibly. I have no idea.
They were definitely married to each other for a long period of time. So
there is something I never knew. Together,
that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. But yeah. Huh. Now I'm reading bios.
Now you're down a rabbit hole. Sorry.
Why have you done this? Yes, the things you find out randomly sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Whatever. I love this stupid vampire movie.
It is stupid. There are vampires. I do like it.
I mean, it's not like Twilight stupid, at least. I can't engage with that franchise. I can't do it.
Either.
I almost bought the book and then I had it in my hand and I was like walking to the cash and then I read the back and I was like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah. I did almost watch one of the movies on TV. I saw 5 minutes of it. It was like a scene in like a cafeteria or something. I don't fucking know. But anyways, I couldn't. I was like, I can't do this, and I walked away from it. I was like I want to watch it just so that I have the knowledge and I can properly rip it apart.
No. You don't.
But at the same time,
you want to have seen it. That's different.
Okay. Yes. Let's put it that way. I want to have seen it. Yes.
Yeah.
No. But I just can't bring myself to do it. And
even if it wasn't like a creepy Mormon abstinence parable, like it's full of people who don't want to be there and the colors are all out of whack and like the physics don't make sense. Tiny little people become these giant wolves and it's like matter cannot be created or destroyed. What is happening? So yeah.
It's magical.
Although at least they use real wolves and not like that weird Harry Potter spindly garbage that I still can't watch that third movie. Now it's one of my favorite books because the werewolves look so bad that it just like makes me a hollering crazy person. You're making yikes faces. I
haven't watched it. No.
That's fine. I don't give a shit about the movies. I like the books, but also now I don't engage much because fuck that girl. Anyway.
She ruined it for everybody.
Shut up. And here we all are.
Yeah, the worst part is that she said something stupid, then she doubled down instead of just being quiet. You're just like, now what?
Double down. She made a fucking industry out of doubling down.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna leave it at that then.
But yeah, don't shit on your beautiful and inclusive fandom.
Yeah. So moral of this episode is we don't have to talk about The Incredibles. You should just watch The Incredibles because it's so good. And Interview with the Vampire is a clusterfuck of 90s-ness that you need to experience for yourself.
Right. And also talk to me about.
Yes.
If anyone wants to talk about Interview with the Vampire, holla at your girl.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for being here and having a little chat with me.
I'm sorry about how much you're gonna have to edit this episode, but it's been fun.
Yay. Yeah, a little bit of editing is gonna happen, but no, it'll be fine. The listeners are going to love it.
I'm excited to see what the Incredibles section turns into.
It's 5 seconds of like talking about the Incredibles, a bunch of random stuff in the middle. Go watch the Incredibles. That's it. That's all of it. Well, that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we'll be talking about the movies Invaders from Mars and Jackie Brown. Hope you'll be here to listen.